for us going forward. Our EMS system is, of course, made up of more than just EMTs and paramedics. Thank you for this proclamation. Thank you for all of your hard work. Thank you.
Isa Jimenez Ramirez. Accepting the proclamation will be Isa Jimenez Ramirez.
It's normal.
All right. All right, well, last but certainly not least, good morning, everyone, and I'd like to special welcome to the Boys and Girls Club of San Marcos. We have the president and CEO, Kathy Bauer, and her valuable team. They serve over 2,500 youth and 12 school sites in San Marcos. And I want to thank you all for making the trip down from North County here. I didn't see you on the freeway, but that's probably a good thing. But for 45 years, the Boys and Girls Club of San Marcos has been a leader in youth development to inspire all young people to realize their full potential as productive, responsible, and caring individuals. So it is my great honor to recognize one of these outstanding individuals, Isabella Isa Jimenez Ramirez. Isa is named the 2024 San Diego County Youth of the Year, competing against all the other Boys and Girls Clubs throughout San Diego County. She was named Youth of the Year for her leadership, outstanding contributions to the community, and she now serves as the ambassador to more than 3,300 Boys and Girls Club members in the San Diego region. She's a 17-year-old senior and will graduate in June from Mission Hills High School in San Marcos, and she's been an active member in the Boys and Girls Club. She's 17. She's been an active member for 12 years. So this past year, Isa has volunteered over 500 hours of community service. She's an active leader and a member of the Leaders in Training program at the club. So obviously, you excelled in that class, where she serves as a role model for peers and for the younger members of the Boys and Girls Club. She was one of 9 top finalists for the 2024 California Youth of the Year. That's a great showing here for San Diego County. So San Diego County, we're committed to recognizing and honoring those individuals who are dedicated to the best ideals of public service and community service. And Isabel Jimenez Ramirez is one such worthy individual. So therefore, be it proclaimed by myself, Chairwoman Nora Vargas, and all the members of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors, that this 21st day of May, that we commend Isa Jimenez Ramirez for her dedication, leadership, and commitment to the Boys and Girls Club of San Marcos and all the Boys and Girls Club throughout the county, for her outstanding community service, and to San Marcos and San Diego County residents, and do hereby declare today to be Isa Jimenez Ramirez Day throughout San Diego County.
First of all, I would like to thank Supervisor Jim Desmond for giving us the honor of having this proclamation. I recently went on my first plane ride. Very interesting. appreciated my life a little bit more. But we traveled up to Sacramento, and it was honestly one of the best experiences I've ever had. And I couldn't have done it without the club. Very soon I will be going on a bigger plane ride down south to South Africa. We will be helping international Boys and Girls Clubs down there and assisting them with all of their needs as well. And again, I can't express how much gratitude I have towards all the supervisors here and all the county district members. Thank you very much.
You know, at the Boys and Girls Club of San Marcos, we're focused on the priority outcomes of academic success, good character, and citizenship, and healthy lifestyles for the nearly 3,000 youth we serve on an annual basis. We're extremely proud of the positive impact we're having on the youth that we serve, especially teens like Isabella. And Isabella isn't an anomaly. You know, in our annual survey of the teens, 100% of them felt confident that not only were they going to graduate high school, but they felt like they had the skills that they needed to be successful and that they were going to be able to get a job when they graduated. 9 out of 10 members felt like they had a mentor that they could talk to and help them make positive choices, that they could turn to staff like David here, David Sullivan, who is the director of our Teen Tech Center at the club. And 94% of our club members think of themselves as leaders among their peers and in their community. And you know, Isabella talked about the fact that she's going to be going down to South Africa to work in a club and do a community service project to help build a new club down there. At the Boys and Girls Club of San Marcos, we truly are preparing tomorrow's leaders, and we're doing it well. So I want to thank you, and thank you for the impact and the support that you've helped to provide us so that we can have experiences and help truly build that community of leaders like Isabella. And congratulations again, Isabella. We're so very, very proud of you. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is David Solomon. I'm the Teen Tech Center Coordinator at Boys and Girls Club of San Marcos. My job is pretty much to bridge the gap between access to technology and youth, especially in high need areas. And Isabella is definitely one of those youths that stood out to me from the start. Just the presence she has when she walks into a room, her ability to influence without authority, and her magical blend of just warmth and leadership has been amazing to see. And I feel like I've also seen the intrinsic motivation that she has for bettering herself. The center I run is very based on autonomy for the teens, space where they can create what they want when they want. So I don't push them to create anything at a certain time, but she's always in there. Mr. How do I do this? Mr. How do I do this? Mr. How do I better my resume? How do I apply to a job? Or who do they look for? It's just little traits like that that really makes me know that she's going to go really far just from seeing how she carries herself and how she knows what she wants for her future. So, yeah, congratulations, Lisa.
We'll now proceed with non-agenda public communication. This is an
Now we're in the
opportunity
part
for
of
the
the
public
meeting
to
where
address the board
no applause
on
is
subject
allowed.
matters within the board's jurisdiction, but not an item on today's agenda. The only action that the board may take is a referral to the chief administrative officer. As a reminder, according to Rule 4A, members of the public that are non-English speaking and need interpretation assistance will get twice the allotted time for their comments, which is 4 minutes. As a reminder, according to the board's rules and procedures, audience members shall not whistle, clap, stomp feet, or anything that disrupts the proceedings. I also want to remind attendees that this board has a lot to cover today. It's really important that we give everybody an opportunity to be heard, whether it's your turn to speak, someone else is speaking, or a county supervisor is speaking. The rules of procedure are very clear about disruptive behavior. Anyone that is disruptive will be warned, and if they continue to disrupt the meeting, they will be asked to leave the chamber. To better facilitate the meeting, we will have 5 speakers in person, 5 speakers by phone, and the rest of non-agenda public communication will be heard at the close of today's session. We have 21 requests to speak on matters not listed on the agenda, 6 in person, and 15 requesting to speak by phone. For those that requested to speak by phone, please dial into the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers. Again, we'll be calling the first 5 speakers. First name is called, please report and stand against the east wall of the rails until it is your turn to speak. I'd like to invite forward Mark, Michael Brando, Richard Abraham, Reverend Danny Brunner, and Pastor Terry Newell Davis. If I called your name, please come forward. You have 2 minutes to address the board. I'll ask you to please state your name for the audio record.
Michael.
For the love of humanity, wake up, wake up, wake up. All of you, wake up, wake up, wake up. All of you, wake up.
I think we need to hear that one more time, and then I'll explain why. Here we go.
For the love of humanity, wake up, wake up, wake up. All of you, wake up, wake up.
Okay, we get it. What is she talking about? Oh, there's a lot of things to wake up to, a whole lot, and we've been doing it for 3 years now. One thing, of course, is the counterfeit pandemic and the bioweapon serum injections. I said Andrew Cuomo last time. It's Chris Cuomo who's been talking about the injuries from the injections. Again, the biopandemic, an antidote to medical tyranny. You know, this is actually surface stuff, although people's lives have been ruined by what you have promoted, all of you. The deeper thing is self-authority. People are not taught to be self-sufficient. You even have a department here called the Department of Self-Sufficiency. Again, it's inverted reality because people aren't taught or encouraged to be their own self-authority, to be their own source of self-sufficiency. And again, I'm going to mention the public safety group, Sarah. We're not waiting on this report. We want to know what is happening with these horses that have been abused for over 1 year. It's been looked into for over a year. The news report said these people pulled guns when people went up there to investigate. When are we going to find out what's happening in Rancho Santa Fe? I hope we hear from them tomorrow.
Mark, the voters were already perfectly clear that we want no new gas tax. This is a totalitarian move to control us. Taxes always start out small and get raised to outrageous levels as soon as you accept them, which we the people do not. To claim that this is because EV vehicles aren't getting taxed through the gas tax is an excuse. They could charge a very small tax on the electricity at the EV charging stations to do that. This is all about monitoring and controlling our every movement, as Rosa Corey clearly states in the YouTube title at 4 minutes, 10 seconds. This is the YouTube title here I'm holding up. An insult they would try this after the voters clearly said they don't want any further gas tax, as government suggests installing a device to track where you drive. These are UN Agenda 21 goals, and everyone must join together to stop these treasonous officials now. Everyone needs to see these videos. I have 1 minute left. They intentionally don't give us much time. These are YouTube titles. See Rosa Corey from 3 minutes and 30 seconds if you want to understand what is going on, what these government organizations are doing regionally everywhere. UN Agenda 21. And she is an expert court witness accepted in California. Zeitgeist Addendum, you can see this from 6 minutes, 40 seconds to 24 minutes, and your 5th grader would understand the World Bank and the Federal Reserve and the scam being done on you better than most adults around you right now. This is Corporation Nation. They've invested us, our grandparents, our parents, all of our tax dollars for generations, and they own just about everything around you, and they're not going to share it with you. It's in a whole separate budget. This Goodbye American Sovereignty, Trump signed it. Biden did not rescind it if you think you're right or left, and it turned control of our trade and immigration, trading over to an unelected council.
Next speaker, please.
Richard Abraham, thank you. As a veteran of both Vietnam and the Persian Gulf with over 20 years of military service to the country, I would like to see a Veterans Memorial of some type built in Lakeside where we could honor the veterans who have served this country in both times of war and peace. There's currently no public Veterans Memorial of any type in Lakeside, and I propose that we build one or start the process of building one at the site of the county library, the old county library. This would also give us a place where the people of Lakeside and also East County residents can recognize their fellow residents who have served their nation in times of war and peace. But the most important thing to me would it allow us to have a place where we could recognize those who have served our nation in times of war, who have paid the ultimate sacrifice in order to, in defense of our great nation. Thank you.
Good morning. Respectfully, I am Reverend Danny Bruner, ordained American Baptist Churches USA, Evergreen, also with San Diego Faith Leaders for Palestine in the great city of Lemon Grove, where the Lemon Grove City Council passed a ceasefire resolution in March because they chose to move outside of political structures as a means to affect decisions and outcomes relevant to the atrocities occurring in Gaza even now. One could say it's outside of my purview, not in my jurisdiction, to speak on such matters. It's a federal concern. Or using the notion it's complicated for further avoiding culpability. We, the San Diego Faith Leaders for Palestine, request two things: a thorough and transparent investigation into the Sheriff's Department's activities concerning our USD protesters, one. Two, an immediate and permanent ceasefire resolution. One has already been submitted, and we respectfully request that it be agendized. I thank you so much for your time. I realize what it means to be a leader. Never, ever compromise what your moral compass is telling you. Thank you.
Chairwoman Vargas, county supervisors, and others in attendance here today. My name is Pastor Jerry Newell Davis, and I'm a Methodist minister. I'm here with San Diego County Faith Leaders for Palestine to seek your inquiry into the events of May 6th on the campus of UCSD when San Diego County Sheriffs, UCSD Campus Police, and California Highway Patrol arrived wearing tactical gear and carrying weapons to dismantle a peaceful protest against the genocide in Gaza by Israeli forces. Aggressive and excessive force was used to disperse the crowd, and pepper spray was sprayed at close range on Imam Taha Hussein, a resident and respected faith leader in our county. As you're probably aware, recently, the International Criminal Court is now seeking arrest warrants for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant regarding their involvement in extreme violence against the people of Palestine, thus confirming that the continued violence used by Israel is not something that the world can ignore. Reacting to the news today, Israeli Defense Minister Gallant described the arrest warrants against him and Prime Minister Netanyahu as disgraceful attempt to interfere in the war. Students and faith leaders worldwide have been speaking out against this war, and on May 6th, the students of UCSD and faith leaders were met with violence. We are here to ask that you fully investigate the incident where Imam Taha was aggressively assaulted and 64 students arrested for their constitutional right to to peacefully protest against this war. We, the faith leaders for Palestine, look forward to your complete and transparent investigative report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now hear from the individuals that requested to speak by phone. Again, we'll be hearing from the first 5 callers. The remaining callers will be heard at the conclusion of today's session. When it is your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted and you will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. I'll remind the callers to shut their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking. We'll start with that first caller.
Good morning. On the vote. The Brown Act was enacted to prevent people like you, supervisors, from hiding the public's business from the public, but also to allow the public as full participation as possible. That is why the Brown Act is so important that it is specifically mentioned in the California Constitution. You cannot simply declare a special meeting and then delay public comment until after the juicy stuff. The law is clear. You have violated this and other sections of the Brown Act repeatedly. I don't like and don't want to give a mass warning, but it's coming to that. If you need refresher lessons, I will be glad to give them. By the way, remember this? Prince King Louis XIV wanted to boost the fashion industry. Nice clothes became the rage at the court. Then he realized the power of keeping people busy, keeping up with the changes. So he got the people to wear different style clothes at each official function. He kept the nobles too busy to revolt, some of them went bankrupt. You too encouraged us to be busy with meaningless gestures, filling out forms, voting, going to workshops, and the like. But the outcome is preordained and nothing really happens. We're catching on. Thank you.
Thank you. And now hear from the next caller.
Consuelo. Yeah, ditto to everything all the bullshit mentioned. And yeah, it is about censorship. And censorship is, in fact, a tool. When their lies and the liars lose their power and control. And that is what is happening. What is happening at these meetings yesterday, Sandex just came out with an amendment to expel people who are off topic. Well, who deems what off topic? And what if they're starting off what you declare off topic and they eventually get onto the topic? Whatever, I guess I know who that's geared towards. Yeah, another thing, another Brown Act violation, and it's called omissions, by the way. So it's just really sad that a lot of people are just going to take their time and to speak up, because this is what's happening. The few who are standing up, they don't like what they're hearing. They're trying to silence us. And we need for San Diego, I don't care what you believe in, I don't care what political position you stand, I don't care about any of that. If you know that there's wrong happening, stand and come in and don't be afraid. It's okay, and you don't even have to be associated with any of the other people who come in. We're all different, believe me. Every single person who shows up on a constant basis, we are all different. We don't believe the same. We just come in because we know that what we're dealing with and what we're up against is corruption, and our county is turning to shit. So come in, speak up. You don't have to use your real name, just speak up. The future is looking really, I'm not scared because I get it, but you all should be. If you don't participate, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. Well.
Thank you. The next caller. Next caller.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, hi. Yes, this is Shane Harris, the president and founder of the People's Association of Justice Advocates, and a former foster youth for 13 years in San I'm calling in because it is National Foster Care Month. And I'm also calling in because I'm here to correct some narratives that were spoken last week that made it look like the newly established Child and Family Wellbeing Department has actually accomplished decreasing the disproportionate gap of Black and brown children in the foster care system. Looking at the data, supervisors, it is evidently clear that 41% of children at Kalinsky Children's Center, which is housed by are Black children, while promises to kids board is majority white. Looking at the data, it is evidently clear out of 638 new cases opened last July, February of this year, 19% of the 638 new cases opened by the County of San Diego were Black children and 10% were Native American children. So the numbers and the program that is being touted to have worked and really dealt with this issue is all a facade. I'm asking you, supervisors, to stop running around and touting what the staff are telling you and study the data for yourself. Talk to the leaders who are spearheading on this issue. Supervisor Montgomery Stepp and Supervisor Nora Vargas, you are the first African American woman and first Latina to be on the Board of Supervisors. You hold a distinct responsibility for the mothers across our region who are fighting child welfare services, who are fighting for their parental rights, who are trying to prevent their kids from going through the cycle of disability. To meet this moment and deal with the neglect issue, which is really poverty, and really deal with the facts.
Thank you. I'm out here from the next caller. Next caller is Sharita Kirkland. Your device might be muted.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
My name is Sharita Kirkland, Ms. Montgomery Stepp. I am a resident in your district in La Mesa. I am calling in today regarding my disappointment in the screwed data on foster care that were presented last week during the budget presentation. This month is National Foster Care Month. According to Child Welfare Services data currently, it shows that in the county last fiscal year, there were over 25,000 cases investigated for abuse, but mostly neglect. Black and brown families were disproportionate in those numbers. Why is that? Because the county has failed to invest in organizations, work with organizations that challenge the narrative, that they do not have a track record of equity-driven initiatives within the context of foster care. I am calling on you to truly address equity for these kids and families impacted. Organizations and leaders such as Shane Harris, who is a former Foster County youth and now president of the People's Association of Justice Advocates, Marilyn English, the head of the Afro-American Wellness Center for Children and Families, have shown the way. Please convene those leaders for a sit-down about how to close the disproportionate gap of Black children going into foster care. Thank you.
Thank you. Now here for our final caller this morning.
Good morning. I'm Peggy Walker, health educator. Supervisors, as you promote marijuana expansion, please consider the 8 LA teenagers who became acutely ill after ingesting marijuana edibles during a school field trip last week. All were hospitalized after paramedics determined they had altered levels of consciousness. This is what happens with increased marijuana commercialization. Mounting cases of youth cause poisoning. The industry insists no one sells to youth, but kids readily access marijuana through friends. Others who buy for them in unchecked deliveries. Unfortunately, in a laissez-faire system where marijuana is normalized, kids get and use it with little understanding that the onset of intoxicating effects can delay up to 4 hours, and overconsumption often occurs. I don't care what adults do, but I care about impressionable youth being falsely misled to believe marijuana is safe. They are unfamiliar with high-potency THC that alters your brain, causes health problems, and addicts 17% of youth to experiment. Why do your policy choices disregard these hard realities? Marijuana businesses do nothing for families or youth. If you're going to force more businesses with attending harmful outcomes on our communities, at least build some guardrails, implement THC caps, and require warnings regarding high potency and disturbing sizes. Kids should not be victims of an industry that profits by creating dependency at an early age in order to build a consumer base. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes the request for non-agenda public communication this morning. Again, all the remaining speakers will be heard at the conclusion of today's session. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes statement of proceedings for the regular meeting of April 30th, 2024, special meeting of May 3rd, 2024, and the Fire Protection District of April 9th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So.
Is there a second? Motion by Supervisor Anderson, second by Supervisor Montgomery Stepp. Please vote. Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present and voting aye. We'll now proceed with the formation of the consent calendar. Items 1 through 18 in Fire Protection District, item 1. Members of the public will be able to comment on the consent calendar after the supervisors pull the items they would like for discussion. On behalf of Chairwoman Vargas, would any of the colleagues like to pull any items for discussion, starting with Supervisor Montgomery Stepp? Supervisor Desmond.
Nothing to pull. I just want to make a comment on the item 6. This is the kinship support program. I just want to say thank you to staff for all this work on this program. This is for family members who have generously taken their relatives or children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews into their homes and provided to them in a time of need. This is a great program. I'm glad to see an item like this coming forward to support our foster care youth, particularly since May is National Foster Care Month. And as our caller, Shane Harris, called in earlier today, we had declared the press conference for Foster Care Month along with Chair Vargas today. So we really appreciate this effort in this agenda item in support of foster care and family members and children. I'll second the motion for the approval.
Thank you. Supervisor Anderson. Thank you. Vice Chair Lawson.
Thank you.
Appointments.
And Chairwoman Vargas has remarks to read. I'll pull this up on the screen. On behalf of Chairwoman Vargas, I'll read her comments. I'd like to share a few comments on consent items 6, 7, 8, and 9. On item 6, the county has successfully worked to help 19,000 children to be raised by family. Expanding this kinship support program is a crucial step in ensuring that children are thriving in our region by being placed in safe and familiar environments. On item 7, as a strong advocate for domestic violence survivors, it is important to me that we are ensuring that we are providing survivors with all the resources they need in order to address their immediate safety, facilitating recovery and healing, and empowering them to build independent and healing lives free from abuse. During my time as a trustee at Southwestern College, I made it my priority to ensure that domestic abuse survivors were getting the care they need. And now, as the chairwoman of the Board of Supervisors, I am proud to support this item. On item 8, this item is a crucial step in ensuring that we have an equitable approach to reintegration of justice-involved individuals by ensuring that we provide ongoing and continuous behavioral health services. We are removing barriers for these individuals. On item 9, creating access to HIV care is a priority for County San Diego and for me. This funding will ensure that we are providing continued availability of healthcare and other services to persons living with HIV, and most importantly, those who are unable to obtain medical insurance and justice-involved individuals. This is a prime example of how we can build a region where people are thriving and not just surviving. That concludes the chairwoman's comments. We'll now hear from the individuals that requested to speak on the consent calendar. As a reminder for members of the public, please keep your comments related to those items only on the consent calendar. We have 9 requests to speak on matters of the consent calendar, 4 in person, and 5 requested to speak by phone. Any individuals that requested to speak on items of the consent calendar, please establish a conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers. All speakers are in opposition. As your name is called, please come forward and stand against the east wall and at the murals that show that you're here to speak. I'd like to invite forward Mark, allegedly Audra, Gambler, and Brian Rumbaugh. Call your name, please come forward, and please identify which items of the consent calendar you are speaking on.
Go ahead.
Also would like to invite forward Consuelo.
Oh, it's like.
I'll ask you to please state your name for the audio.
Mark. 5, evidently raising your fees for health and human services is our county's vision of a just, sustainable, and resilient future for all. 10, the streets should be paved with gold for what we pay in taxes, and they still raise our fees. 12, how much does leasing of this building cost? And how much to buy this building? I'm sure you supervisors don't care about our money and have no idea. 13, why must these sites be exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act? Are they damaging the environment? 14, if your health workers and police force homeless people into these facilities for help they do not want, this program will cost a lot of money and fail. 15, paper reduction. This is hilarious. The speaker slips. Every time I come here, I fill out one completely for every item. Why can't we just have a green, the green one and the pink one, and I fill out my personal information and say 1, 2, 3 for opposed ones or for ones. I mean, why should we waste all that paper? It's like 2 pages instead of 28 today, and many days it's over 30. So I wish you could get on that right away, Jim, because that would be really easy to do. And conflict of interest codes, that's hilarious actually, because you guys didn't even think it was a conflict of interest or mention it when Nathan Fletcher was literally a member of the World Economic Forum. And Klaus Schwab openly is for global governance. He's completely against our sovereignty. Now, he's a German businessman, so it's not treason for him. But for anyone in our government to promote it, like many people in this board often do, it's absolutely treason. And I'm not for anyone being hung or anything violent, but it's got to be stopped. It's hilarious to talk about conflict of interest codes.
Thank you. Speaker, please.
All right, still Brian Rumbaugh. So the last time I was actually at this podium, I did talk about really the failure in our morality. And, you know, based on number 2, the district attorney and the insurance fraud, I'd like to actually tell Jim more or less a story that happened to me real quick. About 1.5 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, there was a general contractor guy who, a home actually burned down his wall. It didn't burn down actually. The PV battery caught on fire like a lot of lithium batteries do. And there was a minor fire and melted the And this guy actually wanted me to rip out a perfectly good electrical system. The insurance guy came to the job site to meet all of us proposed subcontractors. This dude was in on it as well. It was a big scam. They actually ended up ripping down the complete roof assembly of that structure, stripped all the drywall, all the insulation. I'm sure the electrician that was willing to be a scumbag ripped out the wire. You know, ultimately we've got failures. Failures for us. We are not doing a good job. We need to get right with a lot of things, including God. Most of all God. Because us being scammers and lying, deceitful, money-worshipping fools getting us nowhere.
Thank you. Please identify which items of business
The person uses the name Audra. Would like to speak on all of them, but you guys don't give people enough time, and so there's more important things to talk about than all of them. But with the insurance fraud program, all of insurance is a fraud, so it should just be gone. It's all a scam. And then number 3, for your request for your single source procurement for the 911 response in the county, doing data surveillance, that's a little bit terrifying, because then what are you going to do with that data? Right? You always love your data, whatever. Health and Human Services charges and fees for number 5. It's like, are we just giving them more money so they can traffic more kids? Because that's what happens. They actually traffic children. If you're so worried about the migrants, you should be worried about the migrant children that are unaccompanied that HHS traffics. And if you're unaware of that, you should become aware of it, because it's very disturbing to know that. And having them get a new building, it's like, yeah, Nora, it's real. And you seem to care about them, so I don't understand why you don't care about the children that go missing. How can there be 500,000 children that have gone missing, unaccompanied minors that have crossed the border? You should be concerned about that. I don't understand why it's like, oh, that's just normal. I mean, it is, because in the United States, that's what we do with the kids in foster care. HHS does. So the fact that they get more money for fees, does it just go to traffic more and more space, more children to be able to do that with? That's a serious problem that you guys don't want to acknowledge. It's disturbing to think about, because you seem to care about them. So why don't those children matter? How come? Where'd the 2,000 plus kids that were in the convention center go, Nora? Why do these children disappear? They have their organs harvested. They are sexually trafficked. And they are murdered as well. But I guess it doesn't matter, right? Change the mic. Luke.
Gambler here. Well, you know, there's a positive note in all this. I could talk about my issue on every single topic. You know why? I got confirmation just Thursday. Then I'm not allowed to talk to any of these fine, lovely gentlemen, ladies or gentlemen, because of my issues with the County of San Diego Registrar of Voters, which links every single item together. Congratulations. On top of that, you cannot force me to communicate with you in one direction. Remember DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion? You are forcing me to do something that I'm very not comfortable with and very lacking in ability. My vocabulary fucking sucks. But I could argue the shit out of anything. That is why none of you want to talk to me. That is why Heidi, that fucking cunt, refuses to talk to me after the first time she talked to me when she said, I chose the wrong profession. I should have been a litigator. That is why you won't even look at me in the face when you tell them that they can't talk to me. So I expect phone calls from you. Or every single time you're in this meeting, I'll make sure you're not on your phone, like I did just now. And there's not a damn thing you guys can do about it. You can't do anything about me calling you 50,000 times, asking for a response on something. And you're not going to stop me. And I'm going to get 5,000 registration forms, and we'll see if I can go ahead and vote 5,000 times to get your ass out. I already have it scheduled with the registrar voters to pick them up after I leave here. I can fill them out, change people's signatures, get those ballots delivered wherever the hell I want, and then vote them. Fuck you.
Okay, Clerk Swallow. So I heard you use the words thriving, not just surviving. Thank you for using my words. So let's see, conflicts of interest. Gosh, this word has so many conflicts of interest, it's disgusting. Incestuous relationships with other entities, Sandag, it's just, yeah, conflicts of interest galore. We got Chair Nora Margus, who is also head of Sandag, and gosh, let's see, what else do I have? Domestic violence. Wow, our local government has been pretty violent with its own citizens, abusive and reckless with the people. Next, mental health. Maybe if this county government that is more concerned repeatedly has been more concerned with being federally compliant instead of with the mental health of the people. Maybe if you focus more on what's happening here instead of being essentially, you just keep wanting federal funds, so it's federal fund whores, really, instead of the mental health and what's happening locally and what the local people are in need of and want, instead of what other people that are crossing and doing illegal acts, instead of catering to your own and taking care of your own, you consistently look outside, and that's probably why there's a freaking mental health problem. Let's see, so message to the people, follow the pattern of what this board and other boards in our counties are doing. It's not for the good of us, it's for the good of them and the agenda at hand. And if you don't know that agenda right now, it's called UN Agenda 21.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the individuals that requested to speak by phone. We will start with our first caller.
All about all speakers are in opposition. You better start paying attention. Thank you. But, okay, number two, consumer fraud is a growing problem, especially with the advent of such virtually uncontrolled things as AI, the use of hacking and secure systems, and automated license plate readers, and broken toll systems. Whether intended or not, a Georgian could be viewed as some sort of government plot against us. Maybe it is. And I'm glad someone has our back. And shame on you for cutting DA's budget in your draft budget document. 11, sorry. I see that some employees get a 2% raise, some get 5%, and some get 10%. And some get just a range of possibilities. That's equity. How about giving them all a cost of living raise? That would be equality. And I see licensed professional engineers are going to get a 10% premium. That's discrimination. The ordinance needs rework. 10. The court's 189% increase for written assessment appeals board findings is outrageous. You might hide the truth from people who can't afford the raise from 169 to 490. The trigger increases a lot of fees is due to the increased time to provide the service, a 158% increase for time required in map reviews and providing the service. If these people did not work for the county, they would not get this sort of raise.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Certified won $7 million in state extortion fees for cities who have access to fingerprint and voter data for only 2 years. Not that the state's crazy to hear about crime. Item 4, apparently Stafford Disaster Relief and Emergency Act of 1988 that began drain the local defense into never-ending federal emergencies for money. Item 8, notice the criminals receiving $128 million state debt dollars worth of Medi-Cal, taxpayer-funded health care, while their victims receive nothing but injustice. Item 9, $12.8 million debt dollars for 5 years of contracts, including with the National Alliance for Mental Illness, which is partnered with Google, NIH, and a bunch of big pharma companies like Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer. Item 10, $760 for a copy of an audio recording from Anderson Streams, where people can download the meetings from the county YouTube page for free. Item 11, note of more inflation salary increases, including the CEO, chief of staff skyrocketing by another $84,000 a year, the assistant clerk of the board skyrocketing by another $37,000 a year, and the assistant director of animal services skyrocketing by another $45,000 a year. Item 16, MTS and Palomar Health don't need conflict of interest codes, they just both need to be eliminated. Item 17, Mike Lochner of the HIV planning group belongs to the fictional Imperial Court, where he wears a crown and Masonic-like outfit using the title King Father Majestic Scorpion Emperor XLIII Making 2. Note the Kevin Sabaiko to the Environmental Health and Quality Advisory Board. He works for Amplify Campaign and has worked for Catherine Blakespeare, Kamala Harris, Mike Levin, and Janessa Goldbeck. He's such a career politician wannabe that he keeps jumping from board to board. Note of board Nesbitt for the Palomar Airport Committee. He's on at least 4 different pilot or airport boards. That's a conflict of interest. Note of Michael Calderis for the Emergency Medical Care Committee. He's the Carlsbad Fire Chief who aided Operation Collaboration that delivered 100,000 clot shots. And item SPO1, $3 million cardiac equipment needed by EMS when a whole bunch of suckers got that clot shot. Note of this consent.
Thank you. Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes the request for public comment on items on the consent calendar. Again, the board will first vote on all items on the consent calendar, including all those appointments with the exception of Clifford Kaiser to the Palomar Advisory Committee. We'll take a separate vote on that item. We have a motion by Supervisor Montgomery Stepp, seconded by Supervisor Desmond. On behalf of Chairwoman Vargas, please vote.
This is for the consent.
For the consent.
Without the appointments?
Correct. The balance of the appointments for the executive officer. Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously. All supervisors being present and voting aye. The board will now vote on the appointment of Clifford Kaiser to the Palomar Airport Advisory Committee, seat number 7, for a term to expire January 1, 2027.
Are you count on that?
Mr. Kaiser's been my appointee on the Palomar Airport Advisory Committee. He's my at-large appointee, and he's done a great job. He's been there for several years. He's just recently the chair, so I completely support appointing him back to the advisory committee.
Thank you. On behalf of Chairwoman Vargas, please vote.
So this is to
This is for the appointment recommendation for appointment.
Clarify, I did not remove him. It's, I'm not going to vote to reappoint.
Okay, so this is for the approval.
For the appointment.
Yes is a yes.
Yes. Thank you. The motion passes with Vice Chair Lawson Reamer voting no, all other supervisors being present and voting aye. For purposes of the public, excuse me, we'll be hearing item 24 first, then item 26, then item 23 at 12 noon, and the rest of the items in numerical order. Also note that item 19, the Truth Act forum, will be considered at 6 p.m. tonight. We'll begin with discussion item 24, addressing data equity for Asian American, Native, Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander people and supporting employee resource groups to address county leadership gaps. We'll start with the individuals that requested to speak on this item. We have 5 requests to speak, 2 in person, and 3 requesting to speak by phone. For those that requested to speak on item 24 by phone, please dial in the conference line using the instructions provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers. As your name is called, please come forward and stand against these while under the murals until the district is don't get kicked by board mark and those we are. All speakers are in opposition on this time.
Mark, thanks for going out of order after I spent like 10 minutes getting ready for 19. So, equity for the Asian, American, Native, Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander people, and supporting resource groups to address county leadership gaps. Well, I don't think it's important what race of people are in government positions. Although, obviously, it would be really strange if there was an incredibly large group of one particular race like there is in our government or religion, even though they represent a really, really tiny percentage of not only our country but the world. But outside of that, though, I really don't care what color you are, what race you are. I care that you're for freedom in the Constitution, which has been suspended. And a lot of people don't know that. And because I wasn't prepared for this particular agenda item, nor did I consider it incredibly important for me to devote my attention to. There were so many things that were more important. But yeah, I mean, what does it matter? What nationality or ethnicity someone is? It doesn't. It matters that they're American, that they believe in the Constitution, and they want to stop the Agenda 21, a UN Agenda 21 that's being instigated by regional boards like this all across the country. Illegitimately, it's against our sovereignty. It will destroy us if people don't get together and stop it. People should see Rosa Corey's video. I've held it up several times in the last couple of items. See that video on YouTube, or you won't understand. And you're going to lose your country. It's that simple. We are losing it. If people get together, we can peacefully stop it. They just don't know what's going on.
Thank you. Also, I'd like to invite forward.
All right, thank you. Still Brian Rumbaugh. So, I apparently am not going to be able to have a non-agenda today because I was a little bit late, even though typically, even when I get here early, the first 5 are handed out to union people, all that type of stuff. That has happened to me numerous times, FYI. So I'm very disappointed. With this right here, I'm really just going to echo what Mark said. Us as Americans, we can sit here and talk about a person's ethnic heritage, but we are all Americans. And we essentially need to do a better job of representing to the world what America was and is. The opportunity to not be crushed under an oppressive ruler, which requires responsibility. Hence the Republican form of government, which literally now several generations are completely clueless on. Okay, when I say that, they've been sold down the river by power-hungry politicians, by transnational business owners, by people who have no allegiance to any sort of national sovereignty. Business owners, Jim, when I say that I'm a business owner, man, I'm talking about people that have they literally have no concern about humanity. It's all just about them and their trade routes. They're the same people that operated the Silk Road, man. Okay? You need to do some history. You've demonstrated to me numerous times, Jim, that you've literally been too busy being a politician to even study fundamental history. I'm not trying to get your goat here, bud. When you blow and him and haw at me, I gotta tell you something. I can get reactionary. I got a lot to fix. We have a lot to fix. You've demonstrated some things to me that show me that you do care. I understand you're stuck in a system.
We are all stuck.
Next speaker, please.
Consuelo, pain for more divisiveness, divide and conquer. Oh, yeah. There's only one race, reminder, Homo sapiens, the human race. Government will continue to keep us divided. Every culture contributes to our county and country. Reminder, the reason for so many islanders was due to this government's colonizing behinds. So how soon we forget though, history is repeating itself, and it's just painted with a pretty proclamation, and you get to do this and you get to do that, but guess what? We're all still their servants.
My person uses the name Audra. Our nation is falling apart. It's being destroyed from within. So sad. Just especially to watch it. It's very disturbing. But Nora, I mean, didn't some of your staff, is there not controversy with your staff being racist against these type of individuals? Are you making it doesn't happen? Or you just engage with her? I'm just asking. I don't know. I mean, maybe she should be on the item too, to talk about not being racist against those people. But it's interesting because it's like with all this DEI, and you're like, we want equity. You're actually being inequitable because you do things that instead of hiring the person for what they can do, you look at their sex, their race, all of these different things. That was weird. Is that Satan? Hello. Instead of really just like hiring somebody for the job they do. And so you'll take somebody less qualified as long as they check one of those different boxes that there are. And it's sad because we are one race. It's the human race. And as long as we continue to divide each other into these different groups, there's never going to be any equity because you're going to go, we need to give them this. And then we're not going to give them this. But it's equitable because they didn't get it at one point. Now it's like, it's their turn not to get it. So it's pretty sad to see the way things go, and we don't do things in a manner of like, common sense. It's like there is none anymore. And all of the stuff that happens is just a bunch of shenanigans to divide the people. That's why our nation is falling apart. And it's sad that you guys don't see it. Like it's literally, I'm just like every day watching it happen. And it sucks. It's really sad. It breaks my heart. And to know that you guys are engaged in that. Especially like when I'm bringing up the children and you don't even care. But you seem to care about the adults then. I guess the adults that come across are more important.
Thank you.
Gambler here. Why do we teach separation? Why are we doing that again? I thought we got over that. I remember going through that when I was a kid. We're all equal. It doesn't matter. That time I was shocked as all hell when I had to fill out my first resume. And I had to put down I was. And I was told to put down Hispanic because part of me is from Mexico. And I always found that bullshit. Not the fact that I could group myself together with this so-called left speech. I don't understand what you guys are trying to promote. We're all equal. It doesn't matter where you come from and all that stuff. Yes, you have different experiences. We should all learn from each other. I love the Filipino community. I think those people are the most cultish group that I've ever seen. Not in a bad way. I mean, dude, I went to go see a boxing match with a friend that hates fighting. And I thought it was the funniest damn thing because she really, really hated fighting. And I didn't understand why until I saw who was fighting. And those who know the Filipino community knows exactly who was fighting. Pacquiao. It was his last match. Bullshit match. He should have won that match. I love him. We should all learn from each other. But just trying to say that because you're black, you got the fourth board of supervisors, which is true. They selected you because you were black. It had nothing to do with your skill sets or anything like that. I mean, they sent cops to my door to prevent me from running against you. So that is a fact. 100% fact. It is records of that. So let's not go ahead and disguise ourselves.
We're now here from the individuals that requested to speak by phone.
Records.
Call the vote. It's interesting how the board letter mentions Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, AMHPI, and apparently calls for desegregation, like separating from past.
The Hawaiians, Native Hawaiians, when you usurp their land, they native land and the government took it.
Underrepresented in government. fact, what I have heard and seen, even today in chambers, different ideas about whether we need to be in government and AHNTI, people tend not to need to be in government. The letter also says I don't think it's business, of the business letter. I don't think it's the county's job to regulate labor standards for business. Personally, I do not think the government should be in the business of disaggregating information on every person or tribe.
The next caller.
It's all about hinge cringe being hinge cringe.
I think what I need is similar data. I need to see a table using this quantifiable data metrics. I can't believe it's only about the data. I am.
It's really a type of cult that we're witnessing, and it's all based in deception. For example, what does an Indian have in common with a Native Hawaiian? And what do either have in common with a Fijian? The answer is probably nothing other than the respect for family, which is something every culture in the world should share. Here's what I agree with them in the item, quote. For the county to work for all, it must represent all of us, end quote. No wonder the county's not working right, because it doesn't represent any of us while operating the way it has been for at least the last 4 years. In fact, I actually feel like my culture has been under attack for quite a while. Identifying as an American, there's no box to check, and there's nobody on this board representing that culture. Everything is all partisan and divisive. I also agree with this statement, quote, data can hide or highlight, end quote. That's exactly why I call it data-driven deception, because whoever pays for the studies, the surveys, and the data can have it say anything they want it to. But just like with Joel running the Middle Eastern and North African categories, Tara only wants an Asian, Native, Hawaiian, Pacific Islander category because it gets quotas met, and that gets them more money. Federal debt dollars from the upcoming census. That's why the city of San Diego just passed this exact item on May 14th. I also found this stereotyping of Asian people offensive, quote. Management norms brush up against AA and NHPI cultural values, such as speaking up, advocating for opinions, and leading with authority, end quote. What racist discrimination? Showing respect is not the same as not being able to speak up and lead. So I'm calling for the dismantling of the county's systemic inequity and discrimination by eliminating the Employment Resource Group Council and all future board letters full of racist stereotypes. How annoying. Thank you. No, thank you.
Thank you. Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes public comment on this item. On behalf of Chairwoman Vargas, we now turn it over to Vice Chair Leslie.
Hi, thank you so much. Today we recognize and celebrate Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And in alignment with our celebration and that proclamation, I'm bringing this item, which is all about representation, both in terms of data and leadership. First, this item highlights the critical importance of data equity, which is vital for our Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities. Good data is not just a bureaucratic exercise. It is a powerful tool that drives equity, informs policy, and ensures that every community's unique needs can be addressed. For too long, the diverse experiences of Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander populations have been masked because all these diverse groups have been lumped together. This fails to capture the specific challenges and strengths of distinct groups in our community. Data disaggregation allows us to better understand the complete picture. Data disaggregation reveals disparities in health outcomes, educational attainment, economic opportunities, and more. For example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, our Samoan communities knew that they were being disproportionately impacted, but we could not see it in the data. And we now know that Samoans were dying at twice the rate of other Californians. Without good data, these disparities remain hidden, and communities in need do not receive the kind recently announced that they are also moving in the direction of better data disaggregation, requiring more detailed race and ethnicity data. We have a very exciting opportunity before us to come together as a county, working alongside community advocates and stakeholders to determine the best ways to implement detailed race and ethnicity categories. Which categories are most appropriate for our communities and our region. This work will need to center our community leaders and stakeholders through dialogue and engagement. This item also highlights the importance of supporting diversity and inclusion in our county structure. The county is one of the largest employers in our region, with over 20,000 employees. The county has done so much to uplift diversity, equity, and inclusion, including supporting our county employee resource groups, our ERGs. The county has a total of 11 ERGs that support workforce development and leadership mentoring. Still, our county, like many organizations, exhibits gaps where our top leadership is not necessarily representative of the demographics of our wider workforce. For Asian Americans in Hawaii and Pacific Islanders, but also many other our ERGs have been very focused on this issue and have wonderful ideas on how to address these gaps. So my item also asks the CAO to collaborate with the ERGs to develop recommendations and formulate those into a strategic plan for board consideration. Together, these two recommendations will help show our communities that the county is committed to taking action to increase representation and equity for all. So with that, I would like to make a motion and would respectfully ask for my colleagues' support on this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairwoman Vargas would like me to read her comments. They're coming up on the screen here. I'd like to thank my colleague for bringing this to the board's attention today. Too often, some of the rich diversity of our communities is lost in high-level statistics, which make it difficult for the government to respond to the unique needs of these communities. What we measure guides how we act. To ensure government works for us all, it must represent all of us, and that representation begins with how our communities are reflected in data. Disaggregating data on the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities will help us figure out how to best serve these diverse communities in education, healthcare, employment, housing, and more. Here in the county, we intentionally strive to ensure that we center diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging as an employer. I'm proud of our Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander workforce, and thank you for everything you do every day in your service to the community. I support this item and will second this motion. Thank you. With that, Supervisor Montgomery Stepp.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair, for bringing this item forward. I also want to thank our employee resource groups that keep us abreast and aware of everything that is going on within our county when it comes to how we serve our diverse county community and also beyond the walls of the county. Also want to thank our colleagues for recognizing Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander month and for everyone who came to participate. Thank you very, very much. The last thing I'll say, I'm fully supportive of this item. Every time we put more emphasis and more attention to groups that have formerly been erased, it makes us a better county. And erasure is real. Many of our communities experience it, and the more that we hone in on this data, the more we can serve our communities in a much better way. So thank you again for bringing this forward, and I fully support this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Any of Chairwoman Vargas' colleagues have any additional comments? So any request to speak? With the motion by Vice Chairman Screamer, second by Chairwoman Vargas, please vote. Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present and voting aye. We'll now move on to discussion item 26, fiscal year 23-24, third quarter operational plan status report and budget adjustments. We'll hand the floor to our accounting team for a presentation.
Number 26.
Good morning, Chairwoman Vargas and members of the board. I'm here today to provide an update on economic conditions and the county's financial status, including
funds rate, which is the rate at which banks lend to each other overnight, has been set at a range of 5.25 to 5.5 since July of last year. There's been significant volatility in the fixed income market, as you can see in the chart on the right, as participants assess the risk of future rate activity. Today, the market is pricing a little bit less than 2 rate cuts for 2024. This compares to an implied 6 rate cuts at the end of 2023. The 10-year Treasury yields have responded by moving higher as economic growth remains resilient and inflation is sticky. The mortgage market has moved in sync with the upward movement rate due to lower demand and a risk aversion in the banking sector. Next, we'll talk about inflation. Inflationary pressures continue to be the main risk for the path of interest rates. The trend is moderating, but inflation remains above the 4% target. U.S. Consumer Price Index increased 3.5% year-over-year in March. Core inflation, which excludes food and energy, was up 3.8% year-over-year. As you can see on the graph, inflation is off peak levels but has stabilized at a higher than target rate inflation numbers. Inflation in the region in San Diego shows a similar trend compared to the U.S., with the CPI at 3.6% in March, slightly above the national level. The national job market remains resilient. Unemployment rates are low by historical standards, and job growth overall remains healthy. The U.S. employment rate improved to 3.9% in March from 4.2% in February. Although the rate has improved over the previous month, the unemployment rate is still up on a year-over-year basis. Non-farm payroll showed a 175,000 increase in April, below the consensus of 226,000. San Diego unemployment rate has improved to 4.4%, which was below California's rate at 5.3%. As you can see, the trend continues since the second quarter of 2022, with San Diego experiencing unemployment rates which are below California, but still at a higher than national level. The housing market remains a focus for the regional economy. As you know, according to the Case-Shiller 20 Home Price Index, the housing prices were up 7.3% year-over-year in February. San Diego continues to lead major cities by reporting the highest year-over-year gain in the index with an 11.4% increase. Home sales activity in the region remain constrained though. Sales activity in San Diego is down 7.1% in March. The tight inventories and higher mortgage rates continue to impact housing affordability. And now I will hand it over to Ebony, who will continue with the update.
Thank you so much, Chris. Moving on to focus on the state budget outlook. On May 10th, Governor Gavin Newsom released the May revision to the budget he proposed in January. This revision reflects current information on revenues and expenditures for the state based on the economy, caseload, and changes in population. The revised state budget was released showing a shortfall
So cool when you can find $17.3 billion.
which is $7 billion higher than what was proposed in January. In January, the state shared its strategy to address the deficit through a number of approaches, which included early strategy to address the deficit, and through the action budget package that was released in April, which was projected to reduce the shortfall by just over $17 billion, leaving an anticipated budget shortfall of around $28 billion to solve. The additional solutions included in the May revise included reductions in internal borrowing, delays and pauses, a decreased reliance on reserves, and shifting expenditures to other funds. The solutions that were put forward to respond to the state budget shortfalls in the upcoming budget year, but also in 25-26. These solutions will have an impact as proposed on county departments countywide, and we're performing a comprehensive review of these impacts, which will be provided in a staff memo to your offices. Besides the review of the May revise, we'll continue to monitor state budget activities leading up to the actual enactment of the budget. Based on what's been provided to date, the most notable and nearest impact will be felt within the Health and Human Services Agency, which delivers programs on behalf.
Thank God.
To share a little bit about how the state budget might impact like to turn the presentation over to Dick.
Thank you, Anthony. As I referenced last Tuesday, the governor's May revision significantly reduces funding for programs the agency operates. While we're still working to fully understand local funding impacts, we do have more information since last week's budget presentations. These proposed reductions would impact services across multiple programs we administer on behalf of the state. I'll focus today on those areas that have the most significant impacts. The two areas where I have the greatest concern are CalWORKS and Public Health Services. CalWORKS is a cash assistance program currently helping 50,000 low-income parents and children in San Diego County meet basic needs. It also provides supportive services to help families move towards self-sufficiency. The level of proposed cuts is unprecedented in size and scope. More than $50 million in CalWORKS funding is at risk locally. Certain supportive services for CalWORKS participants would be completely eliminated, including subsidized employment, family stabilization, and mental health and substance use programs. Other services would be reduced, such as the CalWORKS home visiting program, which supports positive health development and well-being outcomes for families with young children. We would see dramatic funding reductions for activities required to enroll families into CalWORKS and to support them with job readiness and job search activities, including transportation
The chart on the right shows the anticipated sources that are generating the fund balance in the general fund. While an overall positive operating balance is expected, I'll note that the Health and Human Services Agency is anticipating negative operating growth.
Good.
In all cases,
Great.
business groups are staying within appropriations. I'd also like to note that from my second quarter update, the projected negative variance in the Health and Human Services Agency has increased from, it was $1.2 million in the second quarter now to $9.3 million, as you see here on the slide. The projected negative balance for the Health and Human Services Agency is being primarily driven by continuing slowing realignment revenues, these are the sales tax-based revenues, as well as increased costs of general relief. The largest anticipated source of fund balance that we see here is over-realized general purpose revenue. The positive variance of $91.2 million that you see here is projected primarily due to higher than anticipated interest earnings due to the rise in interest rates, as well as unanticipated sales and use tax growth from activity in the unincorporated area. Of note, the majority of this $91 million of projected growth has already been programmed in the operational plan for fiscal year 2014. Outside of the general fund, all other funds combined are projecting $65 million of fund balance, which is 2.1% of the total resource budget. As of June 30th, focusing on the general fund reserve, the unassigned general fund balance was $797 million. But I'll note again that the general fund minimum reserve requirement per the administrative code was $863 million. So this means that the county fell below the minimum general fund reserve by approximately $66.3 million. This includes the amounts that are reflected to be allocated for flood response activities. You'll see the $23.7 million here as an anticipated draw. Ultimately, overall, the restoration of our minimum balance is anticipated to occur through the results of our third quarter projected operating results of $97.9 million with a small amount of residual left available. To address one-time costs to come online for 24-25, the county will continue to use its stabilization strategy to draw on the general fund reserve balance, and while the general fund reserve balance again is currently below the minimum requirement, it is available for use with forfeits owed by approval of the board upon recommendation by the Chief Administrative Officer. And the uses of the general fund reserve include anticipated revenue shortfalls or expenditure increases, legally declared emergencies, unforeseen changes in pension liability, and risk due to maintaining aging infrastructure, as well as some of the long-term health and stability efforts. As we look ahead, we continue to monitor risk closely, most significantly the state outlook, with an estimated higher budget deficit than what was previously estimated. So we talked acutely about the risk here. We will continue to work through and monitor the timing of outstanding FEMA reimbursements. We've seen the impact of lingering inflation on increases to cost structure here within the county. And we've talked about the volatility of market rates as well as the housing market and the impact that that could have on the cost of retirement as well as our discretionary revenue streams. General economic conditions directly affect other significant revenue sources, including those that fund key health and public safety programs.
Items, the budget stuff is really still, apart from you seem not to have a clue about real financial transactions. You seem to bury it in flowery language, and anyway, the recommendation should say where the money is coming from, actually more specifically than just on the basis of something, not just where it's going. I mean, you know, it's like, I mean, why don't you have a reserve fund or something to cover these strange expenses instead of, you know, just pulling it out of the air somewhere, pulling it from someone's funds? I mean, you know, and I don't like how recommendation number 29 transfers around the ARPA funding money that was actually meant for COVID victims. You know, well, as I've said 100 times now probably, why don't you just give it back? Reduce the federal debt a bit. Also, you know, several speakers, I think, have mentioned the unemployment rate. Probably you don't realize that the unemployment rate is not really an unemployment rate. It's a rate of people who haven't given up looking for jobs in 2 months. So, you know, there should be not only the unemployment rate, but the rate of people who
Where's Nora?
I like listening to people.
Gargling her lies.
My name is Kathleen Lippin. I'd like to address the OxyContin settlement, opioid settlement money. And I'd like to point out the public practitioner as public health and concerned with mitigating the problems from drugs, illicit drugs. And unless you address demand reduction, you are never going to get at reducing overall use, whether it's opioids or fentanyl or anything else. We need to do public education, which the county has been silent on for a number of years. Also, it's important to recognize that the failure to recognize federal laws that were in place, whether they were related to illegal immigration or whether they were related to drug laws like marijuana. But once that happened, once California decided they were going to ignore those laws, it is no surprise that criminals decided they were going to generalize and ignore both federal and state laws. Progressives and conservatives have blind spots that create misunderstanding and forgetting about trade-offs. Both need to understand diminishing returns, unintended consequences, negative externalities, and the finite nature of resources. Conservatives are particularly prone to underestimating negative externalities and the finite nature of resources. Liberals are particularly prone to underestimating diminishing returns and unintended consequences. Please look at the financial benefits of permitting a commercial for-profit addictive marijuana industry has been exclusive to industry stakeholders at the expense of the public. That phenomenon was addressed by the redefinition.
Sure, it's hilarious. The original item said there was a positive revenue variance when it was actually a negative variance. Maybe that was wishful thinking. Those working for the county should be well acquainted with the fact that those currently in the funding facilitator seats spend the taxpayer money at record inflated and fast rates. And especially the crazy department suffering from something akin to a seriously mentally ill foundation. HHSA and its behavioral health service that eats up county staff funding by over $1 billion. They need all appropriations canceled, but instead, you're going to be involved in money shuffling games.
It can be done with any money. The question is, where will we get a large enough chunk of money?
The lost revenue strategy?
We do it all the time.
Notice the $1.7 million for the climate action plan when it doesn't even have actions that would actually save the planet from the toxic fumes coming vehicles, and battery storage sites, like the one at Otay Mesa, or the one planned for San Marcos. Note the $500,000 mystery evidence-based treatment for jail inmates. No real evidence for details, no money. Note $450,000 to the Department of Animal Services, unless they're going to finally address Craig Lee Netwig and his former wife, Deborah Lynn Barkley, and their allegedly abused and dying horses. We need some animal justice equity. And there's also $610,000 being taken from public safety when the nitwits also pointed guns at people. Where's the outrage about gun violence? Note recommendation 11 because it has a typo in the word services. Note the $2.6 million county public health lab for white coats to experiment with viruses. For recommendation 24, it was not a historic storm event, it was a historic negligence event. Note to all the American donations and act plan fraud. And note to the budget ballooning to almost $8.5 billion that continues to make problems worse. I do, however, want to celebrate the $14 million lawsuit HHSA to do infectious disease testing. I guess that means no more pandemic games. And next time, Ebony, show a picture of a money bag in your slide. That's a little more accurate county in New York.
Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas. That concludes public comment on this item. I would note that Chairwoman Vargas would like to make a motion on this item.
Okay, I have a couple of questions and then comment on, Dr. McConnell, on your May revision slides, you had two of them, slide 8 and 9. And they were talking about reductions, potentially $50 million locally out from CalWorks. And then on the next slide, there's an elimination of $14 million for local public health services. And then you've got the such as, are these just examples of programs that could be affected? Are these your recommendations, or are these where the dollars are directly coming out of these particular, like, the medical, correctional, health services and caregiver approvals? Are these just examples of what could be affected, or are these priorities, or is this where the money's actually going to be coming out of? That's a three-pronged there. Good luck.
Through the chair, thank you. Thanks, Supervisor Destin. Actually, these are all proposals that are in the governor's revision, and we look at those reductions and then translate them into the local effects. So specifically, the governor has recommended eliminating this future public health funding across the state. This is the slide is the $14 million that we know that we were programmed to receive next year, and according to this budget revision, we will not be getting them. So we're seeing exactly how that follows through. Each of those other examples there are also program by program, specifically the governor's May revision, things that he's proposing to eliminate, and we're seeing the local effect.
So these are the specific programs the state is going to be pulling money from.
That's correct.
Okay, so these two are examples there. Okay, so that's unfortunate. Does he realize he's taking it out? So, I mean, adult protective services, Medi-Cal, and CalFresh. It just seems like a couple things that got. Okay, so that's unfortunate, but I guess we're getting another revision here after the May revise. Is that right?
Well, the state has a process that they're going through. The legislature is the one that creates the budget at the state level, and they're taking the governor's recommendations, and they will come up with a final plan with input from lots of stakeholders, including us. And we will have to see how that final budget occurs, and then we can actually look at those local impacts moving forward.
Okay, so it's unfortunate that these are the actual ones that are being paid for. Okay. And then I see recommendation 33 on this board letter. $1 million going to the YMCA in South County for pool safety repairs and access, which I'm happy to support. Just want to, while we're on this, just continue the drowning prevention effort to continue countywide. This is Chair and I put together a board letter a couple of years ago. There's been a lot of interest. We unfortunately burned through the money fairly quickly, but there's a lot of people that don't know how to swim. We're geared mostly towards children, but adults as well have been taking some of these lessons. So I just want to be interested in more funding for future budgets of drowning prevention programs countywide. So I'm happy to second the chair's motion.
Thank you. Mr. President, Montgomery.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I just had big-picture question to start off with, just based off of the May revision and what we may see coming after the state does its process. How is the original budget that was proposed, did it already mitigate for some of these things? Are we going to go back and then when we pass our final budget, still have to come back and monitor those changes throughout the year? How does that work here?
I'll start. Thank you for that question, and I'll let Eric chime in if he has additional comments there. As it relates to the budget that was just released, these impacts were not anticipated, so they're not reflected in the budget. We did know and anticipate, of course, because we've been knowing that there's been financial challenges at the state level, that there would be some level of impact. We just didn't know exactly what it would be. So as a mitigation strategy in the budget that was released, we did include $15 million of a contingency appropriation with an expectation that we would need to come back to your board with recommendations on how to use that. Once we actually see what the impacts of the enacted budget are and the final impacts, and come to your board with options and to get direction on how to proceed in terms of implementing those changes.
Okay, thank you. So my other question is just about the FEMA reimbursement. Just whenever FEMA decides to reimburse, how do we deal with where the money goes when we get it back? So does it go directly to the pot in which we originally expended it from? So for example, the reserves, if this $23 million is accounted for without considering reimbursement, when we receive that reimbursement, I'm wishful thinker here, does it go directly back into the reserves? How is that money then decided where it goes?
Thank you for that question. We do have two kind of activities happening as it relates to FEMA reimbursement. One, potential associated with the floods looking forward, and then of course the reimbursement that we have pending associated with our response to COVID activities. The COVID activity piece of it is the larger piece of it. And we are anticipating to bring those resources into the general fund directly. We're actually advanced using those resources as a part of the budget strategy for 2024-25. Going forward, as it relates to the flood reimbursement and any reimbursements that we need to see, your board did direct us to set aside up to, I believe it was $10 million in reimbursements to go directly into the fund for future planning activities around emergency preparedness. Any remaining amounts that we receive over and above that direction, we typically will hold those in a trust fund and to make sure that we go through our due diligence from an audit perspective before those funds were released and made available for use.
Okay, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Through the chair, Vice Chair Reader.
Yeah, thank you. This was a really helpful presentation. So I think my questions dovetail a little bit with the questions of Supervisor Montgomery Stepp. I did recall the $15 million that was already in the budget proposed, but it would look like that means we're sort of on track to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 shorter than we had hoped. So is this something that we need to address now in the budget that we're looking to adopt in June, or are we going to be looking at mitigation strategies in the incorporated budget adjustments?
Happy to take that question.
It's definitely for.
And we have talked about this. Thank you so much for that question. Just as a team and how we the best recommended we don't have complete information to make recommendations on how to respond to what we're seeing in the other sides. As Eric described, the legislature will still need to go through its process before we know what the final enacted budget will look like and specific impacts that we need to see locally. And so until that time, we can't begin planning
Chairwoman Vargas, second by Supervisor Desmond. Let's go. Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present and voting aye. Next item for discussion is item 23, establishing an innovative partnership with University of California, San Diego Health for essential behavioral health care at East Medical Campus. We'll begin with the individuals that requested to speak on this item. We have 18 requests to speak, 13 in person, 5 requesting to speak by phone. Also note for the record that we received 40 comments, 3 in favor and 1 neutral. Any members of the public that requested to speak on item 23 by phone, please dial into the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers, starting with those in favor of this item. As your name is called, please come forward and stand against the east wall of the murals until it is your turn to speak. I'll be calling you in groups of 5, so I'll ask you to please listen for your name. I'd like to invite forward Dr. Gaurav Mishra, Mike Phillips, Dr. Steve Coe, Joshua Bohannon, and Kay Marie. 2 minutes to address the board, unless you have to please begin by stating your name for the audio record.
Hello, my name is Dr. Gaurav Mishra. Fellow board supervisors, thank you for this opportunity. Again, my name is Dr. Gaurav Mishra. I'm an adult, child, and adolescent psychiatrist. I'm also the Chief Behavioral Health Officer at San Diego Health, one of the largest federally qualified health centers here in San Diego County. On behalf of San Diego Health, we fully support this partnership between UC San Diego Health and the County of San Diego to expand behavioral health services. This initiative is crucial for our South Bay, Southeast, and East County communities, which are disproportionately underserved. Over the last 4 years, San Diego Health has expanded services for patients with moderate to severe mental illness and substance use disorders to our certified community behavioral health clinic program. We found an increased need for more crisis and inpatient beds for our patients and our community. The partnership's commitment to equity will address significant health disparities, ensuring accessibility and high quality care. We urge the board to approve this essential partnership to enhance the well-being of our community. Thank you.
You just dropped down.
Good afternoon, members of the board, Madam Chairwoman. My name is Mike Phillips. I am the head of patient rights for San Diego County Jewish Family Services San Diego. When we talk about emergency services, we sometimes talk in terms of our capability and capacity. Capacity being the number of beds and the services for those beds. Capability, the specialized services for the various members of the community that need them. You have with the item in front of you the opportunity to make inroads in both of those areas. Areas that we struggle often as a community despite our best efforts. With respect to capacity, we have the ability to authorize discussions around 30 to 45 Medi-Cal inpatient psychiatric beds. And probably more important in terms of capacity, the ability to provide upstream services like emergency psychiatric unit and crisis stabilization unit. These are services that can keep people from having to go into inpatient psychiatric care if they can be seen, assessed, and maybe discharged to a lower level of care. A reminder that inpatient beds are one of the highest levels of care, one of the most expensive levels of care, and also difficult for some individuals who are receiving services in an involuntary capacity. This is also an opportunity to work with UCSD, who's been a strong community provider for this community for many years, and expands opportunities for research, for training, and workforce development. With respect to Proposition 1, this will allow us to draw down one-time infrastructure costs out of the $6.38 billion authorized by Proposition 1. And for SB 43, with the expansion of grave disability, which will be coming into implementation fully on January 1st, 2025, this will give us more capacity, which we know we're going to need for the expanded definition of grave disability. There's a lot of changes coming. We need to be ready, and this will help do that. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Steve Coe. I'm a community psychiatrist working at UCSD. This is an exciting time for me to speak in front of you today. It's exciting because we're at the precipice of something great, an innovative approach to deal with mental health crisis in San Diego that could be a model for the rest of the state and potentially even the country. This partnership will not only be innovative and provide care that our most needed patient population can get first, and I cannot emphasize it enough, highest quality care for the sickest of our citizens, not the other way around. This will allow us to put full spectrum of behavioral health care in one central site. The hub at East Campus at UCSD will allow us to put everything from outpatient to inpatient care, emergency site, crisis stabilization units, all in one location where we could come up with a model that could actually serve our entire community. I have a vision in the future where all psychiatrists, psychiatric nurses, psych NPs, and others could be trained to take care of these populations, and we could start that today. I urge support on this, and the final point I'd like to make is, not only is this innovative, but this will allow us to align all the things that we've been interested in for the past several years. Workforce issues in mental health, taking care of our sickest for the sick, impacting our homeless population, and coming up with innovative strategies and clinical work that will be a model for the rest of the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So the speakers coming forward, I'd like to invite the remaining speakers in favor. Catherine Nicario, Jordan Bean, and Patty Mason.
Hi, good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Josh Bennett. I'm Father Joe's Villages. Father Joe's San Diego's oldest and largest homeless services provider. We provide shelter and affordable housing. We also have an incredibly qualified health center that does psychiatric care, substance use disorder treatment, cognitive behavioral therapy, and other support services. And we stand here today in support of this item. We know that the driving factor for homelessness is an economic one. Seniors and families are the fastest group of the population that we're starting to see on our streets, but we know behavioral health is a driving factor for some individuals. If you're experiencing a behavioral health crisis in your life, you're at greater risk of falling into homelessness. And once you're on the street, we know that there isn't access to care. We do the best we can as an FQHC, but our shelters are not the right setting for somebody experiencing a behavioral health crisis. We have people with acute conditions where the beds just aren't available. Or maybe they need to go to a CSU just for a temporary amount of time. That moment can prevent them from falling into homelessness. And then once you do, that cycle is very hard to break out of. So we stand here in support. We know, and I think all of you know, that there are not enough beds within our region. There aren't enough services. We need to expand our investment in what we're able to provide, and I think the East Campus site is an absolutely positive direction and the right step. That'll help address the existing individuals who are experiencing homelessness and help prevent individuals from falling into homelessness. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm Katie Marie for number 23. We need more treatment facilities and access like UCSD partnership. Families are begging for help for their loved ones with severe mental illness. Many have lack of insight and dysagnosia, which needs to be recognized as a barrier to volunteering for help. It's not denial. Those with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's can suffer from lack of insight too. When they go missing, helicopters are sent out for them. Those with severe mental illness are dumped to the streets or jailed because their illness gets worse while unmedicated. It's not their fault. They're sick and have special needs. Why is homeless normalized? Imminent danger, severe deterioration, danger to self and others is danger for getting help. They need access to more facilities, long-term hospitalization, stabilization, and housing in nice areas. Not surrounded by bad elements that set them up for failure where they get preyed on. It's not safe. Good intention programs are supposed to help our sickest, but do not recognize their lack of insight as a barrier to volunteering for these programs. While trying to build a rapport, they are left on sidewalks, homeless, and endure more brain damage the longer unmedicated. Families need to be involved, not only someone that doesn't know our loved ones. Families are suffering along with their loved one, but only have the right to claim a dead body at the morgue. Have you had to call the morgue every day? I have. There's a lot being disguised as rights that's not right. The right to be unmedicated, psychotic, delusional, missing person, homeless is not a right. It's abandonment and neglect disguised as rights. Someone with a severe mental illness has special needs. Why are we holding them accountable, watching them clinically deteriorate, be homeless, to rot, die, or jail? While medicated, they have a life and deserve access to facilities long-term, a nice place to live. I'm thankful for the help I received from my loved one towards recovering a life that he deserves. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Catherine Nicario. I'm the CEO of NAMI, San Diego and Imperial Counties, and we are so pleased to advocate for this partnership. As the voice of mental health for San Diego peers and family members and caregivers for 46 years, we are passionate about the development of an innovative behavioral health hub in the East Region. The creation of this hub into a 30 to 45 bed inpatient psychiatric unit with adjacent emergency psychiatric unit and crisis stabilization is the quality continuum of care that is needed in the East Region. It will be a central location for the delivery of a multitude of services to meet people where they are in their time of crisis. It is providing the right care at the right time in the right space. And the time is now. The need for crisis care behavioral health services is only continuing to escalate in our community, and we urge you to act swiftly. Oversight and leadership from an academic perspective that is now considered to be best in class for the delivery of community psychiatric services will allow this type of care that all San Diegans deserve during a time of crisis and post-crisis. This innovative hub melds a clinical model with a social model of peer support, which is evidence-based for greater impact and success in recovery in a person-centered and strength-based manner. This will support a wide range of residents, including people with private and employer-paid insurances. This innovative hub model will also lend itself to an enhanced world-class behavioral health workforce training center. The availability of multiple opportunities for professionals and paraprofessionals in behavioral health in one location is optimum. San Diego is known across the country for delivering innovative and progressive behavioral health services, and we are very proud to be a part of this community and look forward to this expansion of services. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. Good morning, supervisors. My name is Jordan Bean with Regional Task Force on Homelessness, RTFH, here to urge your support for item 23. We want to thank Supervisor Montgomery Stepp for bringing this item forward, looking to expand a critical need here in San Diego County. These new services, in partnership with UCSD, are desperately needed and show this board's continued understanding of its need to lean into some of our region's most difficult challenges. We look forward to seeing this item approved here today, and thank you for your dedication to expanding our ability to serve some of our most vulnerable, underserved neighbors while building a future workforce that will be there to support them. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas, Supervisor Montgomery Stepp, and members of the Board of Supervisors. My name is Patty Mason, and I'm CEO of UC San Diego Health. It's been a long journey to get here today, and we've had a good deal of work ahead of us in partnership with you and your administration to develop an essential part of a broader regional behavioral health plan. We're ready to partner with you to make a meaningful impact and change to deliver better healthcare services to our residents. It was 8 years ago we initiated discussions with county leadership about developing a transformational regional plan to improve access and quality of behavioral health services across the county. This journey required a lot of innovative thinking, planning, and above all else, partnership. I want to acknowledge with tremendous gratitude the county team from Health and Human Services Agency and everyone in the community who helped us better understand the complex issues involved and to thoughtfully consider the most impactful option that fully engages the expertise of our nationally ranked mental health faculty physicians and highly trained caregivers, our health system's operational strengths, and our growing network of accessible care facilities, including our recent acquisition of Alvarado Hospital, now our East Campus. We have had tremendous support in this endeavor, some of the brightest minds coming together both inside and outside UC to design a world-class solution for San Diego County. We arrived at a solution that greatly improves the access and quality of our behavioral health continuum of care countywide. The solution we and others have so thoughtfully developed will provide the biggest return on the county's investment. It skillfully leverages once-in-a-generation funding opportunities provided by the state and harnesses market conditions to make a significant impact on the issue that is not going away. I know that my time is up, and I will just end by saying that together we stand at the precipice of building an exceptional mental health service delivery network.
What is happening?
And we look forward to partnering with you.
Wow.
Thank you.
I am glad we don't
So
follow
we all
rules.
get extra time.
At all. At all.
We all get extra time. when we're
Wish you
running
gave
from
Paul
the-
the whole that time.
No, you
Here from
are out of order.
in opposition. Commission, led by Fort Mark, allegedly Audra Consuelo, Brian Trumbo.
You see it.
Fucking ridiculous.
Mark, so much for the corporate speakers profiting off this. Why put severely mentally ill patients right in front of our UCSD students? Oh, by the way, here's these are two titles of articles, recent, and this is a video on YouTube. Your agenda overview states Proposition 1 reconfigured the Mental Health Services Act and approved $6.4 billion in bonds to build an estimated 11,000 new units, including a combination of dedicated behavioral health treatment beds and supportive housing, end quote. It was actually 11,150. 1 in 5 adults in America experiences mental illness. Why is this percentage rapidly growing? Because of the psychiatric meds the pharmaceutical industry is profiting from, and the intense stress government is producing as their corporate oligarchy increasingly destroys our nation. People need to see the YouTube documentary titled The Minds of Men at 2 hours and 14 minutes. Without any psychiatric diagnosis or serious disorders, a surgeon named O.J. Andy was experimenting on children as young as 3, 4, and 5. Electrodes were implanted in their brains, burning sections as their responses were studied. Only because of the psychiatrist Peter Bregan was this stopped. During the Detroit race riots in 1967, Drs. Mark, Irvin, and Sweet wrote a letter to the American Psychiatric Association suggesting black riot leaders, heroes to many, have brain dysfunctions that this brain-burning surgery could correct. In the medical epidemiology of criminals, they proposed neurological treatment before they could pose a danger to society. How long before student protesters of Israel are treated on campus for brain dysfunctions or psychiatric disorders? This same American Psychiatric Association wants more funding with a greater power to incarcerate our homeless who would not be missed by anyone. What recourse will they have when they are experimented on against their will? Marion Correctional Treatment Center has repeated cases of hypothermia,
Oh, he shut him off. Wow. Double standards.
Wow.
Gee, that's interesting.
Please sit down.
Okay, Tyler's still crying my boss. So, actually, the lady from UCSD, really what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of follow suit with Mark and talk about a YouTube guy who I actually do listen to. Okay, some of his videos are about an hour. He live streams every Sunday. His name is Professor Hamamoto, H-A-M-A-M-O-T-O. But he, about 7 years ago, had a video called Ancient Bloodlines, Contemporary Power. And he really dissects the UC California system. He was a professor at UC Davis. He does talk about, the experiments that the undergrads would do with the monkeys with their heads pretty much scalped off and the electrical implants, okay? In this video, which is about 2 hours long, he has a woman by the name of Lorraine Monet, and she really dives in onto that UC system and how really that UC system is an extension of really the King of Spain, those land grants that have come through. She ties in a lot of things. We're talking about two brilliant women. Professor Hamamoto is a first-generation Japanese American. I actually hate using Japanese American because I disagree with that. He's an American. He calls himself a yellow. He's an accomplished novelist. He's got bad things to say about certain neuropathic sciences, such as psychiatry. But to these professors and doctors in the room, I really suggest that they go, "Did you just turn down my mic?" Okay, seems like you did. I would definitely suggest people, learn about it. He talked about really, people like him study history, not to learn, but to recognize what it is that the controlling psychopaths have planned for us so that he can navigate accordingly, which is what we need to do.
Yeah, they did.
We'll
They
give
turned
you an
out.
extra 10 seconds
They
to
totally
be fair to all
turned out.
speakers. Brian.
Oh, jeez.
What's up, buddy?
That was more than 10 seconds.
10 seconds to be fair to all speakers.
Wow.
I want my 2 minutes for my non-agenda. Can I have you do that?
All right, sit down. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Sit down.
Can I just stand up here for 10 minutes or 2 minutes?
Next speaker, please.
Consuelo, remind
reminder, it's sick care, not health
That's
care.
the wrong vote.
The FDA receives 45% of its annual budget from the pharmaceutical industry. The World Health Organization gets roughly about 50% of its budget from private sources, including big effing pharma. The CDC is a vaccine company. It owns 56 vaccine patents and buys and distributes 4.6 billion in vaccines annually through the Vaccine for Children program. That's not science, that's business. We know big pharma will profit big time because the majority of these people will be given synthetic drugs pushed by these blind believers, shills of big pharma. Good health doesn't come from a needle or a pill. Anyone telling you different is trying to sell you something until you realize the government is not your friend, the law is not here to protect you, the money is not here to give you life, the church is not here to save you, the doctor is not here to make you healthy, the school system is not here to give you knowledge, the pharmacy is not here to cure you. You will never be free nor healthy. Look up epigenetics. You really do. You have the power over your own health and well-being. You are in control of your cells and your genes. Your thoughts and environment can heal you from the inside out. Look it up, Nora. You'll lose those nodules, hopefully with the lies you speak. That's probably why you lost your voice.
A person uses the name Audra. I thought they were Nads. Nora's Nads? I don't know. Anyway, it's so interesting to see people come in when there's like $6.4 billion to get, right? So crazy. It's like money grabs, right? It's not really about helping people, but it's funny to see JFS, Jewish Family Services, and UCSD. We want to work together. They already do at the Ramada and the old California Highway Patrol Division where they're trafficking humans, as well as the 4 Points. It's good, yeah, taking our money to do that. And it's interesting to see how much their CEO makes. How cool is it when they pay them off so well. That's where they're making the good money. That's where all the money's going. So in 2019, the CEO was making $359,687. How cool is that, right? And then in 2020, it went to $392,521. And then in 2021, it went to $470,424. You can't find the other ones recently, but if you just kind of go with another $150,000, we're in the $626,000 range. How cool is that to be an NGO? It's so cool, right? It's just like SBCS paying their employees $500,000 a month just to do the migrant transfer site. What a great business is that? That's why they're called nonprofits, right? No, it's profit. For profit. To sit there and then to pretend to actually do something that's good for the community. It's so funny. It's like they make more than you guys do. I bet you're jealous. You're the one giving them the money. But it's funny because they're trafficking human beings. It's good. It's good. That's good, right? I mean, that's the new thing. That's the new normal, is to traffic humans. Oh, and even children. It is so great. I'm going to become a nonprofit NGO as well. And then I'm going to end the border crisis. You had 10 more seconds. No, I had the 10 seconds. He didn't even shut off the mic. What an idiot.
The Asian doctor was smiling the whole time you were there. He was like tripping out on you.
Now let's go in and talk that we see here. I noticed how your guys' faces ended up losing that smile halfway through her conversation. I'm also curious on how many registration forms did you check out with the registrar of voters? How many signatures did you change? I mean, the topic is money for these assholes. So I think we're completely clear, and you guys already established that elections are part of everything. You guys make that determination. not me. When you told me I'm not allowed to discuss anything with any other section because of my case with the registrar of voters, basically stated that the elections are tied to every single thing. So please, don't ever stop me from talking again when I'm up at this podium when I'm talking about elections. That they are stealing people's votes, stealing homeless people's votes. Do you guys look into the registration forms to see if all the signatures are the same or how many signatures are the same? And then see the fact that all those ballots come back with that same wavy line signature that Shannon fucking hates? No, you don't want to go in and acknowledge that because the three of you know that you were selected. You racist piece of shit, Monica. You racist piece of shit, Nora. That always wants to bring up race in every fucking thing for no fucking reason. I find you guys the most racist out of every fucking person I've ever met that has to bring it up every fucking moment. I don't give a shit. I want you guys to address the election fraud that got you guys placed into that seats. I want you to address the questions that I've been bringing up for the past 3 years. I want you to go ahead and stop asking me. No, fuck you. Fuck you.
Time is up.
No, it isn't. You gave people enough time to go ahead and talk as long as they want. And I don't give a shit. Then we will go ahead and stop this meeting. If you want to allow other people to go ahead and do it,
Justin,
then we will stop it.
third morning, we're going to ask you to please leave.
Then we will stop the meeting.
Your conduct.
No, you want to let people go ahead and talk.
Justin, your comments are disruptive to the meeting. We're going to ask you to please leave the chamber.
No.
Justin,
I guess I'm
I just leave right now?
As respect to them, I will.
I appreciate that, Justin.
Fuck you guys.
Love you, Justin.
I'm going to go get my registration forms to kick you guys out.
Thank you. We will now resume. And we'll now proceed with those that requested to speak by phone. We'll start with our first caller.
So another speaker who gets to speak longer than the 2-minute limit. I know that she was in favor.
Can you please state your name?
Sorry. I thought that was me. It is, the proposal itself is a good idea, but let me start by saying there's a difference between appropriation and allocation. A lot of you guys say appropriation and it always drew me eyes and find this guy's proposal. Appropriations means money is set aside in a ledger book somewhere. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's when the money is allocated that you can actually use it. So, I mean, doing a program on the basis of appropriated money is kind of akin to what they do in Las Vegas. Let me put it that way. Anyway, I guess the recommended actions in the board letter, unlike quote, authorize the chief administrative officer or
What's up there, Sarge?
How you doing?
Doing good.
How you can swallow? You been here all day, all night?
How long more? How long were you at? How long were you at till what's the south of
Before I retire. Maybe
Hello, my name is Peña Peraza, and I'm from the South County of San Diego. As the doctor from San Isidro Health Center mentioned, there is a big lack of health services and special educational services in the whole South County. We want the same privilege as the northern and the wealthy county. Apart from the bigger problem of the misallocation of special education funds from the South County SELPA directed by Rafael Coronado, plus not providing fully qualified teacher in the South County, students from UCNC or any college or university of San Diego are not even allowed to make their practices or internships down here. Several UCNC students that live here and study over there are not allowed because their teachers or superiors or supervisors don't want to even bother to come down here and see the progress with this unfortunate special education kid. This behavior is totally racist towards the ones next to the border. This health and educational lack of services in the South throws kids from school to the prison pipeline. And everybody here that has been speaking up, I would like to invite you for tomorrow's superintendent meeting with the South County superintendents. What time? We are desperately concerned, and we're also requesting an audit for the 6 superintendents here in the South County, because there's a big misallocation of money, and we would love to have all the college and UCSD students.
Good afternoon, fellow departments and supervisors. My name is Joanne Franciscus, and I'm the CEO of the Legal Aid Society of San Diego. As most of you know, Legal Aid provides free legal services throughout the county to lower-income San Diegans in a number of critical practice areas, including health law. We operate the Consumer Center for Health Education and Advocacy, and we're the coordinating agency for the statewide Health Consumer Alliance. As consumer health advocates, our priority is ensuring that San Diegans receive voluntary, appropriate, and accessible behavioral health care in the least restrictive environment possible, and in a manner that protects their dignity and rights. We support this item for a number of reasons. While it's imperative that our county ensures that preventative and community-based treatment options remain accessible, voluntary inpatient treatment is and should remain an option as well. Our county's inpatient mental health system is currently at its near capacity. This disproportionately affects lower-income San Diegans who are on or eligible for Medi-Cal, and who rely on the county to administer behavioral health services. UCSD Alvarado has long been identified as one of the few places in the county where there could be an expansion of inpatient mental health beds, short of building a new facility, which could take years. SB 43 is set to take effect this coming January and will likely further tax the county's behavioral health system. The time is up. In addition to potential Prop 1 funding, this partnership can save the county a significant amount of money each year, given that inpatient treatment at the existing standalone psychiatric hospital includes eligibility for federal Medi-Cal billing, which would not be the case at UCSD's General Acute Care Hospital. This partnership is an opportunity for the county to expand resources and improve access to quality behavioral health care at a time when it is desperately needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Now here for the next call.
Truth, UCSD Health East Campus Medical. This nefarious organization can't even tolerate protests that go against their agenda. And UCSD is no one getting health advice or care from. These people are doing experiments with animals within their research facility, along with many other experiments that involve humans, like in 2020 where CEO Patty Mason said pregnant women should get the deadly clot shot, have instead unborn babies. UCSD deserves nothing. This item says that low-income people are more likely to be seriously mentally ill, so we know who their targets are. It also says that government-controlled healthcare results in more inequity, that people on Medi-Cal can't even get the treatment they allegedly need, so state government miscarriage obviously needs to be defunded. Was this UCSD campus even made for these services? Or is this just another private, public, fascist scheme to make more money off the Medi-Cal system? If HHSA was defunded, that $1.1 billion they're wasting, then DHS would be able to dole out psychotropic drugs to people that are actually what's turning them into crazy zombies. Prop 1 is $6.4 billion in debt bonds for every taxpayer in the state begins to build a system to test locking up all, starting with the most vulnerable, the homeless population. Yet this would only provide 45 prison beds. How much more debt would that cost? This item also says that DHS prioritizes the least restrictive setting, yet DHS CS Director Bergman promotes chairs with restraint as a place to keep in his wife.
I'm not kidding, and I'm not exaggerating. It feels like a day's like places I used to spend hundreds of dollars for the birthday presents or something like that. It's entirely lost facility.
The only viable solution, lock psychotic Bergman up. That's the only way he can regain his functioning so we can establish an aftercare plan. And all those stakeholders who spoke in approval, how much did you get paid to make a mistake? And advocate for locking up and drugging homeless people? Shame on you. You don't realize you're next. I'm ticking.
Thank you. Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes public comment on this item. We'll first turn it over to Supervisor Montgomery Step to provide this item.
Thank you very much, Chairwoman Vargas, and thank you to my colleagues for considering this item. Also have to thank UCSD, San Ysidro Health, Jewish Family Service, Father Joe's, NAMI San Diego Regional Task Force on Homelessness, Legal Aid Society, those who have come to speak, those with lived experience. Also, county staff, thank you so much for all of everyone's work on getting us to this point. There are many pressing issues that we face as a county, and as we all know, one of the most urgent is the shortage of psychiatric care services for folks who are unhoused or low income. Research estimates that in San Diego County, 1 in 20 individuals are currently living with serious mental illness, and that rate increases to 1 in 13 if an individual is in a low income household. Previous work has been done to help quantify this shortfall in mental health services. According to research done by the RAND Corporation, the state of California is facing a shortfall of approximately 1,900 or so beds at the acute level. Acute psychiatric inpatient services are vital as they provide care to adults with severe mental illness in need of 24-hour observation and intensive treatment. Along with the shortfall in available beds, there are several factors that will increase demand for such services moving forward. Most notable of these factors are a rise in mental illness prevalence since the COVID-19 pandemic, the passage of Prop 1 and SB 43, as well as a significant increase in Medi-Cal enrollment via Medi-Cal expansion efforts. And while it's important we celebrate this progress in healthcare access, we must be proactive in our efforts to create behavioral healthcare systems that can meet the increased demand. We are also facing challenges regarding our behavioral health workforce. Burnout rates are high among healthcare workers, which is dwindling our already limited number of qualified behavioral health professionals. It is vital that the county not only increase the number of acute psychiatric care beds, but also introduce high-quality workplace development opportunities for the behavioral health workforce to help meet the increasing demands for services. Now, with all that said, we have reason for optimism. Through this partnership with UCSD, we have an opportunity to establish 30 to 45 new inpatient psychiatric care beds for Medi-Cal beneficiaries. The fact that these beds will be specifically designated for the care of individuals on Medi-Cal is significant, as these patients historically face more barriers to accessing care, receive lower quality care, and ultimately experience worse health outcomes than patients enrolled in other insurance plans. This partnership, potential partnership with UCSD Health, seeks to address many of these health inequities. In addition to the increase in bed count, an emergency psychiatric unit and crisis stabilization units will be available to provide services at the East Campus Medical Center. This crisis stabilization unit will be the only CSU in District 4, and will not only provide critical care for individuals suffering a mental health crisis, but also alleviate emergency department demands throughout the region. This partnership will also offer an important and timely opportunity to establish a center of academic excellence in behavioral health treatment for residents across San Diego County. This clinical training programming will strengthen workforce development for the behavioral health system and provide opportunities for San Diegans to pursue rewarding careers in behavioral health as both providers and support staff, resulting in an influx of high-quality behavioral health workers throughout the region. In closing, I want to reemphasize that this item I'm bringing forward today provides a unique opportunity for the county to help address the behavioral health needs of our most vulnerable residents, while also establishing a hub of academic excellence and high-quality workforce development that will bolster the county's behavioral health system for decades to come. Just briefly, I'd like to just ask Dr. Bergman to come forward to get your perspective. We've heard a lot, and I've said a lot.
Oh man.
But I wanted to just ask you to provide your perspective of how this proposed project may help improve the behavioral health continuum of care throughout the region.
Thank you so much, Supervisor. I think you've actually captured really well the things that it will do positively for the continuum. I think those can be thought about in three sort of domains or three buckets. One is that it would help address what is pressing need for additional capacity that we feel day in and day out across healthcare providers and providers of behavioral healthcare specifically in this county. Our behavioral health inpatient settings in this county are maxed out and sort of running in most cases over what is really sort of optimal census. Additional capacity is key in this one. And again, it makes use of extended infrastructure, and so there are opportunities for it to provide that relatively quickly. The other, I would say, really significant opportunity with this particular partnership does address a concern that I think you again articulated well, which is around workforce. We have made very clear in lots of venues that we are in the midst of a behavioral health workforce crisis in this county. That I would say, it's also important to note, is a statewide workforce crisis. It is a national workforce crisis. But it is one locally that it's been challenging to address. We think very important to have a robust academic center involved in doing clinical work for people who are enrolled in the public insurance system, to train a workforce locally, because we know that results in the best opportunity to retain locally the workforce. So that's another really important thing that would come with this partnership in particular. And then there's an opportunity, I think, with this work to make sure that people who are of least means and often of most need, again, which dovetails with folks who are enrolled in or eligible for Medi-Cal often, to help those folks get access to the most innovative care. And that is, a commitment that I am hearing and seeing that's been brought forward. So it's really across those three domains that I think we see the greatest opportunities here.
Thank you very much. This is truly an exciting opportunity. And with that, I move this item and hand it back over to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairwoman Vargas has some remarks. I'll pull those up on the screen. Thank you, Supervisor Montgomery Stepp, for bringing forward this item and highlighting the opportunities we have to expand our region's behavioral health services. We know that the infrastructure availability within our region is one of the biggest challenges we're facing for our behavioral health services. That is why, as the county creates their data-informed plan for how to best advocate for the Proposition 1 bond funding, we need to ensure we're looking at how we can better prepare ourselves for the future. Harnessing partnerships to increase our behavioral health services is vital as we look at our continuum of care, especially partnerships such as this one. This innovative partnership will attract, train, and build a workforce that will provide the highest quality of care with academia at the forefront to a Medi-Cal enrolled population. It will increase care opportunities such as clinical trials, which can make all the difference in the level of care provided. Thank you to UCSD Health and all the advocates for being here today. With that, I'm happy to second the motion to approve this item. With that, we'll turn it back to Supervisor Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a long time coming, and I just wanted to thank a few people. Dr. Berling, I can see that. I so appreciate all your efforts in this. You know, when I first got elected, I asked why we weren't using Alvarado at the time. You know, these are high quality beds, but this is far better than I ever considered. And I want to thank Dr. Coe and Patty Masek for all their work in putting this together. I certainly enjoyed the tour that you gave me, and this is a big step for East County and all of San Diego County. So I happily support it today. I'm only disappointed I didn't get a chance to second it, but I will vote yes.
The chairwoman is deferring to you, Supervisor Anderson, to second the motion. So he's withdrawing for seconds. Supervisor Lostman, Vice Chair Lostman.
I just wanted to say I think this is great. I think this is absolutely necessary. I think it's not just going to provide high quality beds and be able to catalyze better research in our region and training for our behavioral health workforce, kind of all in one. I think this is also an incredibly important opportunity to use our county resources in a way that's more effective. We're moving away from a model where we're not able to get where our IMD money is not sort of being utilized effectively, and we're paying out of pocket, to a model where we're going to be able to better leverage other sources of funding to meet the needs of our county. So I think this is great. I appreciate my colleague for bringing this forward, and I'm just looking forward to seeing us move expeditiously. I know that there can be a lot of devils in the details as we try to put together a partnership like this one, and I'm very hopeful that the support that the board is lending to this initiative today will allow us to potentially cut through some of those more difficult and challenging kinds of conversations to get this deal done as quickly as possible to meet the needs of our region. So thank you.
Supervisor Desmond.
Well, I just want to thank Supervisor staff and all the hospital organizations that are here today and supporting this. I'm happy to support. This is a great effort that is happening throughout the county. This is, hopefully we can get a lot more to addressing mental health the issue as best we can, and I'd like to see more for North County in the future with in the infrastructure portion of that up at Greenhouse Ranch in North County as well. Continue this effort so we can get people into the help they need. Thanks.
Thank you. There's a motion by Supervisor Montgomery, seconded by Supervisor Anderson. Please vote. Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present at one time. The board will now take a 30-minute lunch.
30 minutes? Come on.
At 1:05.
We're gonna need a little more time than that.
There'll be a break later. What?
Do you wanna just keep going on the live, or you wanna do something separate? For a
No,
recap?
keep it on here, yeah. No, yeah.
Just do it in here where the acoustics are good.
Did you put my thing on?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, so.
Hey, let me do that.
Oh, yeah, I don't know which one. So, guys, we're about to go to lunch. So, it's been an interesting day. They should be the ones in the behavioral health institutes, being electroshocked. But anywho, we got to go and have a 30-minute break. So we'll be back for you guys here in about 45 minutes. Hope you've been enjoying it.
What a clown show, huh?